It started with a scream no one heard, a call that went unanswered, and a young woman who, within hours, would simply cease to exist in the world she once lit up. 23-year-old Kada Scott, a former Miss USA hopeful, vanished after a series of strange and harassing phone calls, the kind that make your heart race when your phone lights up after dark. Those closest to her say the calls came often, growing more aggressive, more personal, and more threatening. Now, as investigators question a potential suspect, an entire community is asking the same haunting question: where's Kada? You might think you've heard every missing person story before, but this one feels different, because everyone who knew Kada swears she saw something coming. She warned people. She felt watched. She told friends she was being followed, and yet nothing was done. If you're watching this, I want you to pay attention, really pay attention, because what happened to Kada could happen to anyone who trusts the system to step in when danger knocks. She was young, ambitious, and full of life. A finalist in local beauty pageants, working part-time at a Dallas spa, planning to relaunch her YouTube channel to inspire young women. Her future was wide open, until fear took its place. In her final week, her tone changed. Her posts slowed, she deleted photos, made her accounts private, and told one coworker she was tired of being scared. That coworker thought it was stress, but it wasn't. It was a warning. On the evening of her disappearance, security cameras captured Kada leaving work at 5:42 p.m., holding her phone and keys. She appeared calm, dressed neatly, moving with her usual confidence. Her car, a white Hyundai Elantra, was parked just across the street. That footage was the last time anyone saw her alive. Less than 24 hours later, the same car was discovered 12 miles away, parked neatly by a quiet road. Doors locked, engine off. No sign of a struggle, but her phone, gone. Her mother, Kada Scott, was the first to sense trouble. Kada always checked in, always. So when she didn't reply to messages or calls that night, Rhonda said she felt her stomach drop. "She's never gone more than a few hours without texting me," she told reporters through tears. By morning, she'd filed a missing person report. Police told her to wait. Maybe Kada just needed time away. Maybe she was with a friend. But mothers know. And Rhonda knew something was horribly wrong. In the days that followed, Kada's name exploded across the internet. Miss USA hopeful, missing, last seen leaving work. News anchors repeated the headline again and again, but few mentioned the calls, those haunting, harassing calls she'd been getting for weeks. Calls that investigators later confirmed came from a blocked number. Friends say Kada told them she recognized the voice. She wouldn't say whose, but she looked terrified every time her phone rang. A 29-year-old man has now been questioned in connection with the case. Police describe him as a person of interest. He's someone who allegedly had ongoing contact with Kada in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. Neighbors recall seeing him parked near her workplace more than once. At first, it looked innocent, a man waiting in his car. But in hindsight, those sightings feel like warnings we all missed. Warnings society has learned to brush off until it's too late. If you're new here, make sure you're subscribed, because what's unfolding in this investigation will shock you. Authorities are now piecing together Kada's last hours through digital forensics, text messages, call logs, and GPS data from her phone. According to internal sources, her phone activity stopped abruptly at 7:02 p.m. that night. 1 minute she was driving, the next, nothing. No signal, no trace. Experts say that kind of shutdown usually means one of two things: the phone was destroyed or intentionally disabled. Either way, it means someone wanted her to disappear completely. And then came the strangest twist. Within 24 hours of her disappearance, several fake social media profiles appeared online using her name, her pictures, and claiming she was fine and just taking time off. But investigators later confirmed those accounts were created after she went missing. The IP addresses traced back to a Wi-Fi network connected to the suspect's former employer. It's the kind of detail that sounds like a movie, but this isn't fiction. This is a real woman gone without explanation while someone tries to control the narrative. Kada's friends describe her final days as off. She'd stopped going out, stopped answering calls from certain people, and told a close friend, "If anything happens to me, tell my mom I love her." At the time, they laughed. They thought she was being dramatic. Now, those words haunt them. What stands out most in this case isn't just the mystery, it's the neglect. Kada went to the police about the harassment. She told them she was scared. But without physical evidence, without an immediate threat, it became just another report. By the time they decided to take it seriously, she was gone. And that's what makes this story so painful. It's not just about what happened to Kada, it's about what keeps happening to women who ask for help and are told to calm down. It's about how danger is only taken seriously when it's too late. And it's about how we, as a society, keep repeating the same mistake, believing that tragedy only happens to other people. Police continue to question the suspect, but no charges have been filed. He's out there, free, while the Scott family waits, living in limbo, caught between hope and heartbreak. Every night, Rhonda lights a candle and prays that someone will come forward, that someone saw something, that someone knows what happened. "I don't need justice yet. I just want my baby home," she said to reporters through tears. Her words echo across social media, turning the case into a rallying cry for better protection, better investigation, and better empathy. But even as attention grows, the case remains open, cold but alive with questions that demand answers. Who made those calls? Why was her car found where it was? And why, even now, are key details being withheld from the public? If you're still watching, remember, these stories only stay alive when people care enough to keep asking questions. So hit the subscribe button, stay updated, and share this story so more eyes stay on Kada's case. Because silence protects the wrong people. And somewhere out there, someone knows exactly where Kada Scott is. A 23-year-old woman full of promise, a series of ignored warnings, and a system too slow to act. This isn't over. It's only beginning. Stay tuned. The investigation was supposed to bring clarity. Instead, it raised more questions. Questions no one in law enforcement seemed eager to answer. Detectives insisted they were following every lead, but behind the official statements, sources close to the case described confusion and delay. Files misplaced, tips ignored, witnesses uncontacted. Weeks passed before a full digital trace was even authorized, time that could have made the difference between finding someone alive and uncovering what was left behind. And that's what makes this story so deeply unsettling. It's not only the disappearance itself, but the way it's being handled, the way bureaucracy can suffocate urgency, the way someone can slip through cracks wide enough to swallow an entire life. Local volunteers began organizing their own search teams, combing through woods and fields miles from where Kada's car was found. They carried flashlights, printed flyers, and hope that someone in authority had lost. One volunteer, a retired paramedic, said something that stuck with everyone there. People don't just vanish. Someone saw something. Someone knows something. And yet, in the noise of rumor and speculation, those voices, the ones trying to help, were drowned out by online chatter. Social media had turned the case into a kind of spectacle. People dissected her photos, guessed her motives, created theories that had no basis in fact. Everyone had an opinion. Few had compassion. That's how tragedy turns into entertainment, when empathy gets replaced by curiosity. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, detectives found something that could change everything. Inside Kada's work locker, sealed in a small cosmetics bag, was a folded piece of paper. On it, a list of 5 names. No explanation, no context, just names, one of which matched the suspect police had already questioned. Investigators have refused to disclose the other 4, but insiders say 2 belonged to men she interacted with on social media, and 1 was a client from her workplace. If true, that list could be the link between her harassment and her disappearance. But here's where it gets even more troubling. When investigators tried to verify the origin of that note, they discovered no fingerprints, not even Kada's. It was as if whoever left it behind wanted it to be found but not traced. Forensic teams are still testing it for DNA, but it's been weeks and the family says they've received no updates. The silence has become its own kind of torture. Every unanswered call from police feels like a dismissal. Every no comment feels like a door closing. Still, they hold on. Kada Scott, exhausted but unbroken, has become the voice of her daughter's story. She appears on every local broadcast, pleading for answers, her words heavy with grief. I keep thinking about those last messages, about how scared she was. If someone had listened sooner, maybe my baby would be home. And that's the heartbreak in this. She did ask for help. She reached out. She followed the process. But when fear becomes paperwork, people get lost inside the system. That's not just negligence. That's failure. If you're watching, you might wonder why these details matter, because they reveal something much bigger, a pattern in how these cases unfold. First comes the disappearance, then the waiting, then the quiet blame. Maybe she ran away, maybe she was overwhelmed, maybe she made bad choices. It's always easier to explain it away than to admit the truth. Someone made her disappear, and society didn't take her seriously enough to stop it. In recent weeks, new evidence has surfaced. Fragments of security footage from a convenience store located near the industrial area where Kada's phone last pinged. The video shows a woman matching Kada's description entering the store alone, buying a bottle of water. She appears calm, but just seconds later, the same dark sedan believed to belong to the suspect pulls into the parking lot. 2 minutes later, the woman leaves and the car follows. The timestamp on that footage matches the exact moment Kada's digital trace went dark. Authorities have yet to confirm the footage publicly, but privately, insiders are calling it critical. And yet, even with that, there's still hesitation to act. No arrest, no warrant, no closure. It's infuriating watching evidence pile up while accountability lags behind, watching an entire system move slower than the people desperate to find answers. And maybe that's why cases like this keep happening, because consequences are delayed long enough for people to forget. If you're just joining us, make sure you're subscribed. We're following every update on this case, every credible lead, every voice brave enough to speak when others stay silent. Because the truth about what happened to Kada isn't buried, it's being withheld. Local reporters have started digging deeper, uncovering details about the suspect's past. There were previous complaints, one from an ex-girlfriend, another from a coworker, both citing unwanted contact and obsessive behavior. Neither case went to court, both were dropped due to lack of evidence. Sound familiar? Because it's the same cycle, over and over again. Someone displays alarming behavior, it's dismissed, and then tragedy strikes. And this is where you begin to question everything. How we define danger, how we prioritize risk, how many warnings need to be ignored before someone finally says enough. In the most recent press conference, officials hinted at significant new information expected to emerge from digital subpoenas. They're analyzing cell tower triangulation data to map every device near Kada's final location. If even one of those numbers matches a known contact, it could finally place someone at the scene. But again, time is the enemy. Each day that passes erases traces of truth. Memories fade, evidence decays, people forget what they saw. Still, the public isn't letting this one go. The hashtag Justice for Kada movement has grown into a nationwide conversation about how missing persons cases, especially those involving women of color, are handled in America. Activists are demanding new protocols, faster alerts, stronger digital tracking, because in this century, no one should be able to vanish so completely. Meanwhile, the suspect remains free. He's changed his phone number, deleted his social media, and refused all interviews. His attorney calls it privacy, but to many watching, it looks like avoidance. Kada's family refuses to give up. They've launched a community task force offering a $25,000 reward for information leading to her discovery. Tips have been flooding in, some credible, some desperate, all driven by the same hope that somewhere, somehow, she's still alive. But the longer this drags on, the harder it is to hold on to that hope. And through it all, one question lingers like a shadow. If Kada had been believed sooner, would we even be telling this story? When a young woman says she feels unsafe, the response shouldn't be skepticism, it should be action. Because fear is evidence, anxiety is evidence, instinct is evidence. But until that mindset changes, more stories will end like this, with uncertainty, silence, and unanswered questions. The investigation continues, but beneath the surface, there's something deeper happening, a reckoning with how easily justice can stall and how often victims are forgotten once the headlines fade. The people leading this search are tired but relentless. Every night, they return to the same maps, the same questions, the same haunting thought. What are we missing? And the truth is, it might already be in front of them, hidden in the noise, buried in plain sight, waiting for someone to connect the dots that no one else will. Stay tuned. This story isn't close to finished. Every day brings a new thread, a new clue, a new reason to keep asking who's protecting the truth and who's hiding it. Because until those answers surface, the question remains, where's Kada?